I'm making sunshine for the journey. I'm making sunshine for the journey. I'm making sunshine for the journey. And I am making it right now.
Hey, everybody. Today we have a Sunshine for the Journey episode for parents. Many of the Ready, Set, Go show episodes are made just for kids and their families, but I thought it would be fun for adult listeners to hear from other parents who are a little farther along in their journey, people who have high school or college-age kids or even grandkids. They can look back on the early years with their own children and see how some of the things they did back when the kids were young helped their kids grow into who they are today. We all know it's easy to get stressed out by situations close to home, sometimes even in our own home, and also out in the world. So, this is a place for us to reflect on the good things that make a difference. Today we have Cathleen on the show. Hey, Cathleen.
Hello, Miss Katie.
You have 4 kids. What are some of the things they loved to do when they were young?
Well, I do have 4 kids, and they are high school, college, and I have grandkids age 2. So I have all of the things that you just mentioned. Some of the things that we loved to do when they were younger was listening to music and dancing, biking, going to the park, swimming, and also reading.
Oh, those sound like some really fun things to do. So how did your parenting style change as you had more experience?
My parenting style changed in some ways, and in some ways they didn't. As I had more children, of course, I became more relaxed and I didn't sweat the small stuff. On the big things, I didn't change my parenting styles. For example, teaching them honesty, integrity, and work ethic.
Do you have some memories you can share about things you enjoyed doing with your kids when they were little?
One big memory that I have is after dinner, I would pull out wooden spoons and pots and pans. We would turn the music up really loud. And while my husband and I were doing all the dishes and cleaning up, my kids would play like they were on the drums. So we would dance and sing and play on pots and pans and clean all at the same time.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like so much fun.
I just talked to my oldest daughter about that, and that is a core memory of hers. One other big thing that I loved doing with each one of my children was reading before they went to bed. And of course, you do that when they're young, why they can't read, but we continued even when they did start reading on their own. And so we would read big novels to them, and my husband shared in that as well. And even when they even got to teenagers, sometimes we would pick out books and read together. So reading was a big part of our family activities.
Well, that sounds fun. Did you have a favorite book you read together?
A lot of the younger books that I read to my kids, I did go through them just recently, and I saved the ones that they loved and that I loved. And so it's like saving a picture. So I've kept all of those books so that I can read to my grandchildren when they come to my house.
Oh, they're going to love it so much. So what did you love to do when you were a young girl?
Well, I grew up with 5 brothers and a twin sister. So there was no lack of activity in our house, but we grew up with raising chickens and horses and cows. And so we were outside a lot doing chores. But also one of the big memories I have is with my brothers, and we played a game called Hot Box. It is where 2 people have baseball gloves and a baseball, and they're spread out around 20 feet, and they have like a little base like you would on a baseball field. And we would go back and forth and try to see how many points we would get from base to base. But if a person missed the ball, then we would keep going as far as we can. We would go to 50. If they tagged you, then you had the mitt and the baseball, and we took turns. So that was a core memory of a game that we played outside. And the other one was, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but it was called Kick the Can.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of it, but I never got to play it.
So Kick the Can, you can, if you don't have a lot of kids, get all the neighbor kids or invite a lot of kids over. Nighttime was the best. Mm-hmm. but you got a can or a milk jug, an empty milk jug, and that would be the base. And then you would pick a person who was it, and then everybody else would go hide. The person who was it would have to go try to find that person and tag them without other people kicking the can. So you can make up your own rules and your own things, but that's something that we did at night. But we even did it all the way into high school, middle school, high school. And my oldest daughter even said we did it in college. So it's a fun game. You can Google some of those games.
They sound like so much fun. Oh my gosh. So did you have your own kids play kick the can when they were little?
We did. I don't know if I taught them hot box, but we definitely did kick the can and a lot of the outside activities as well. We played a lot of games inside as well. I remember playing a game called Risk and Monopoly, and we played a lot of card games. My mother loved to teach us how to play poker, which she has passed on to all of my kids. So everybody knows how to play poker in my family.
That's great. I know you encouraged your kids to write a lot as well. Can you tell us what you did to help them learn this skill?
At a very young age, when they even started writing their name, if they've ever received a gift, we would always write thank you notes. So that is something they had to do, to write thank you notes. Also, I would get journals for them when we'd go on trips, and we would journal activities that we would do on our vacations and trips. So we would do that. I read something along the way about an activity. It was called family journaling. And everyone had their own journals that you would put on the coffee table or the center part of your house where you guys spend the most time. It could be on the kitchen table or a coffee table. And what we would do is, however many times a night, we would sit down. Everyone would get a journal, but they wouldn't get their own. They would get one of their siblings or a parent. We also had an aunt that lived with us for a while, so she had her own journal. And we would just write letters to them. We could either write a kind word. We could, if it was their birthday, we would write a birthday message or just anything that was positive and encouraging.
I have never heard of that idea before, but it just sounds incredible. It sounds like such a treasure to look back on even the next day, let alone several years later or several decades later.
I even went and looked through them before I came. I looked at my journal, what the kids wrote to me, and there were some things that kids would write, birthday cards, and I would cut them out and I would put them in the journal so that I would have them there. But it's good to look back to see what they wrote to one another. So I think that will be something special that they can look at in years to come.
Do they all have these journals at this point?
They don't. I have them. I just pulled them out. My oldest daughter doesn't even remember having it. And I think I started when she was in high school. So I'll have to give hers to her so she can read what her siblings wrote to her. One of the things is when she went off to college, I would make all the little ones write letters to her in college because there's 10 years difference between my oldest and my youngest. So she got lots of letters.
Wow, how special.
She actually, when I was helping her just a few weeks ago, get organized, she pulled out all of those letters that they wrote to her 8 years ago. Those letters are precious. And I think that is a skill that we have all fallen short of because of texting and so forth. So we don't write letters to people or ourselves write as much. So I think that's a skill, even if you are an adult or a child, that we can still do today that makes a big difference.
You know, my daughter and I have been writing letters to each other for a long time. Initially, it was when she was little and going to camp in the summer. And I knew how much letters meant because I'd been a camper and loved receiving letters from my friends and family. And so we got going then. And of course, I did with my son as well. But now she's in college and it's been so much fun to write her letters frequently and once in a while send care packages. But also, she enjoys writing letters back. And I will say we also helped our kids write thank you notes from the time they could start writing themselves. And my daughter just today was saying how much she really enjoyed writing letters. And I was thinking, yeah, every word you write, you know, you're actually going to absolutely make somebody's day when they see that they have fun mail. And then when they open it up and see whatever you wrote and that you're actually thankful for a gift. So that's really great that the next generation in my family anyway, is really enjoying writing. And I think she thinks it's kind of old fashioned and therefore likes it even more because it feels old fashioned and a little bit different.
It's a treasure. It's a treasure that we will have for decades to come to look back to see what people wrote us. One of the things that I heard a long time ago from a counselor is that the best counselor you have is a piece of paper and a pencil. So not only is it good for others, for them to see your writing, but it's also good for ourselves to also journal and write.
Mm-hmm. I actually use writing in all sorts of ways with journaling, and I have a journal for each child myself that I've been writing for them since they were babies. But it's not the same kind of family journal. I love your idea where all the members of the family are all writing to each other. That's really special. In my case, I've been the main writer, and every few months I'll update what's going on. And I've been doing this since I was pregnant with each one of them. Sometimes when I feel like I have a question that I need to work on or, just some emotions I need to get out, writing is a great way to do it. And in the past, I would write journals, and I have so many from the past where I just wrote very freely. But at this point, I don't even need to keep it to see it later on, but I do need to get it out on the paper because that's such a good way for me to process my thoughts and emotions. And so sometimes I'll light a candle and put on a timer for 20 minutes and then just go sit down and write for 20 whole minutes. And then I read it and then I shred it. And it just gets stuff off my chest in such a great way. I always feel better afterwards.
I think that same concept is great for parents, and especially in discipline. Like if a child is having a hard time with their emotions or they're frustrated, instead of time out or however, give them a piece of paper and a pencil and have them go write what they're feeling or angry or upset about.
I really never gave that direction exactly. I'm just thinking now, why didn't I? But I'm glad you mentioned that because it's worked so well for me. And I think I have definitely encouraged my kids to have journals. And at times I've given them ideas like just crunching up paper, throwing it. But I don't think I gave them that specific technique. But I agree. It's so helpful.
It's a gift. My husband is a journalist as well. But my oldest daughter, I don't know if it's because of all the writing between my husband and me encouraging the writing, she's now a journalist. So she writes a lot.
I think that's so fun to think about the seeds and the little things we do that were planted, when the kids are very young, can really turn into something that's like a lifelong passion or even a job.
Or a skill. That goes with reading and writing. Reading as a seed that you can plant with your kids now, and that will help them so much when they get older as well.
Lifelong, both of those skills. So you became a grandparent this year.
Yes, I did.
Well, I know you spend a lot of time with your grandson and love on him so much, but can you also tell us about how you played together?
Well, my grandchild lives far away. However, when I go there, I get to stay for at least a week. I love to help my daughter get some chores done as well while I'm there. But at the same time, I like to play with him. So one of the things that I do with him is I actually have him with me while I do chores. So if we're doing laundry, I put him in the laundry basket and whisk him around down the hall and in the rooms, and then we fold a little laundry. Takes a little while. The other thing is I like to sit and read to him as he's crawling around. So I like doing that as well. But most of all, I like doing chores with him. So I even have put him on my back while I get the dishes done. A core memory that I have that I don't think I'll ever forget is that I took him to the park and I put him on his first swing.
Oh, how special. Well, do you have any ideas or advice for parents with young kids?
Oh, I have lots of advice, but I don't think we have a lot of time for this. As a young mother, I found it really hard not to compare myself to other mothers and to other people's kids. So I would like to just encourage all the mothers out there to just try to focus on your gifts, your talents, and your beautiful, tiny little gift that God has given you, to just love them, guide them with the tools that you have. and trying not to look around, but just look what's right in front of you. The other thing I'd like to mention, it's so hard in this day and age because there's so many screens in our own phones and what we can put in front of our other kids. So to put your phones down, to be present with them, whether it is just doing chores with them or playing with them or taking to the park or getting outside with them, is just to be present. These little precious things that we have in our life are here for such a short time. Mm-hmm. Time flies. Sometimes days don't seem like it, but just to really be present with them. Another thing is trying not to look back at the past or things that you may have done wrong, or even how am I going to do it tomorrow, but just live for today. Really just one day at a time. I think just to love them. I think that's the most powerful thing that we can do is just love them as best that we can.
Well, that's a beautiful answer. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
I think just take each moment with them, teach them, guide them with the tools that you have. As parents, we can also look at our own childhood and what our parents did right or wrong. You can focus on either one of them. But to give your parents the grace and mercy and love of what they did right or what they did wrong, and know that your kids can do the same for you. So just do the best that you can and get outside and enjoy the sunshine. If the sun is shining, even if it's cold.
That is a great idea. Enjoy the sunshine. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on the Ready, Set, Go show, Kathleen.
Thank you, Miss Katie.
I am smart, I am kind, I am good. I'm creative and I'm strong, so I should know my words make a difference and my actions too. I'll make the world a better place, that's what I'm going to do.
In the Sunshine for the Journey episodes, we don't always get around to the fun, making the world a better place part, but we're going to do it today because Kathleen has listened to the Ready, Set, Go show podcast and knows all about it. So, Kathleen, what are you going to do today to make the world a better place?
Well, recently I have received a lot of gifts, people that have given me material things or have done special things for me. So I am going to go home and write some thank you notes to those people.
Well, that's a wonderful idea. They're going to love receiving some good mail.
And so what are you going to do today to make the world a better place?
Well, I have actually got a new idea about what I'm doing. And so this is one day out of all the days in the year, but I am learning how to take care of the plants at my house better. And so I have a plant that I got 3.5 years ago, and I put it in the window, and I've been very happy because it remained alive this whole time. But today I researched that plant, and I found out the name. It's called a ghost plant. And I found out that if it has more sun, it will bloom. And my plant has never bloomed. And so I'm actually going to put it in a sunnier window today on the south-facing side of my house so that my plant does a little better and gets a little healthier. And then when it's warmer out, I'm going to put it outside. And so my goal is that my plants begin to thrive, not just survive.
Wow.
I'm making sunshine for the journey. I'm making sunshine for the journey. I'm making sunshine for the journey. And I am making it right now. And then I watch the news and think, well, where do I even begin? And then I think again, if not me, who? And if not now, when? If not me, who? And if not now, when? So I'm gonna put one foot in front of the other, 1 foot. I'm gonna put 1 foot in front of the other, 1 foot. I'm gonna put 1 foot in front of the other, 1 foot. Yes, and I'll be on my way. Yes, I'll be on my way.
How you gonna make sunshine?
I'm going to open my mind.
Open my mind.
Do what makes me smile
Smile
inside.
inside.
Then I'll share my smile with you. And like a wave, it will reach others too. I'm gonna put one foot in front of the other, 1 foot. I'm gonna put 1 foot in front of the other, 1 foot. I'm gonna put 1 foot in front of the other, 1 foot. Yes, and I'll be on my way. Yes, I'll be on my way. And I'm making sunshine for the journey. I'm making sunshine for the journey. I'm making sunshine for the journey. And I am making it right now. Say that again. Yes, I am making it right now. One more time. Yes, I am making it right now.
Sunshine.
The Ready, Set, Go show is part of the Possibilities podcast platform.